This leader is provided to facilitate adjustment of focus. Please be aware there are spoilers contained in this video presentation.
Strangelove, precious fluid conservation. Strangelove, keep away fluoridation. Strangelove, looking for a command key.
Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It was released in 1964. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was nominated for Best Picture, Actor, Director, and Writing.
In which it won none of those.
Nope, just nominated.
And I wonder, who did win?
That would be Tom Jones. It's not unusual to be a movie about the turn of the century.
I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was very young, and it was like The Late Show, back in the pre-cable television days. At the time, I totally really didn't understand it at all. But I remember just watching the whole thing, and I have vivid memories of it. And it wasn't until much later that I watched it again in the cable television days and recognized it for the brilliant satire that it really is.
It would not be difficult, my Führer. Nuclear reactors could... I'm sorry, Mr. President.
It's a little weird at the end, like that. You don't really... That's hard to kind of wrap your head around, I would say, with the fact that they're talking about trying to stay alive, but they're in fact already dead. They just haven't gotten there yet.
We've already seen Major Kong fly the hydrogen bomb down towards the ICBM complex at Laputa. We already know that the world is going to end.
And the tension as a viewer that doesn't want nuclear war, but it's like, oh, is he gonna get the doors open?
Yeah, but has he got a chance?
Has he got a chance?
All the phallic symbolism, especially the opening scene where it's the
refueling,
where it's the inserting of the penis into the plane. And then when it comes out, it goes like this.
I thought I was the only one that was kind of like, there's something weird about this. Have the Russian guy still spying in the war room. Everything's lost and he's still taking pictures.
I can no longer sit back and allow
the character of Jack Ripper, Sterling Hayden,
the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids.
It came out in January '64. The initial test screening for the film was supposed to be November 22nd, 1963, which is the day that Kennedy was assassinated. So Columbia Pictures held off releasing that movie for a while because they didn't think that it would, do well.
You just can't expect a bunch of ignorant peons to understand a machine like some of our boys.
The telephone call between President Merkin Muffley, which I'm not sure if everyone knows what a Merkin is, but that is in fact his name, Merkin Muffley, and Premier Kissoff.
I am as sorry as you are, Dmitri. Don't say that you're more sorry than I am, because I'm capable of being just as sorry as you are.
And just Peter Sellers on that phone.
Dmitri, there's no point in you getting hysterical at a moment like this.
And it just showed the absurdity of the, frankly, dick-waving contest between the Soviet Union and the US at the time.
I think he was really channeling Bob Newhart's phone conversation bits.
You found a shell on the beach. You think that's unusual? Do you, Willard, finding a shell on the beach? It isn't that kind of shell. What's the matter? Doesn't it sound like the ocean when you hold it up to your ear, Willard? Oh, that kind of shell.
It was so good, and Peter Sellers, so good.
Bob Newhart was the master of that telephone call, and I agree that Peter Sellers had to have taken lessons, at least watched that.
Oh, is that right? Gee, I was sort of hoping that was your watch making that noise, Willard.
That scene of Slim Pickens opening up the safe and pulling out the cowboy hat.
Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Nuclear combat toe-to-toe with the Ruskies.
It's hard for maybe the younger generation to understand what it was really like in the 60s and 70s and even in the 80s.
It requires only the will to do so.
The battle scenes at the Air Force Base are some of the most realistic looking battle scenes that you see on film. The filming of it is very much in the vein of a combat photography, with a lot of the handheld camera. You're looking at the view from behind the machine gun. You're down low watching things happen. It seemed to me very realistic.
Well, we just watched Saving Private Ryan. That was literally the last review that we did. And the shots, especially the POV from the machine gun nest, I was really struck by how similar those two films are.
Peter Sellers was supposed to play Major Kong.
How many times have I told you guys that I don't want no horsing around on the airplane?
He was supposed to have 4 parts in that movie. He couldn't do it because he sprained his ankle.
There would be much time and little to do.
Peter Sellers did not want to do it. And then they wanted John Wayne, who said no. And then they tried to get Hoss from Bonanza.
Oh, can you imagine that?
Whose agent said, no, this is a Pinko movie. And then they got Slim Pickens.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Slim Pickens, who was awesome.
And he said after that movie, my parts, my dressing rooms, and my checks started getting bigger.
Honestly, I could see that being a logical throughput so that Peter Sellers was placed all the way through it. But I mean, it would have lost a little something without Slim Pickens in there.
I agree that. And I also loved that they had James Earl Jones in there.
Major Kong, is it possible this is some kind of loyalty test, you know? Give the go code and then recall to see who would actually go.
And that they included an African-American. I'm sure it was not his first film, but he was so young. Oh my gosh. The Air Force would not let them see a real B-52. So they had to build that cockpit based on photos that they found. But they said they did a really good job when they built that set.
How about having Patton as one of your people? Yeah, it's like, and he's so funny. Juxtapose that to Patton, where he's so serious.
I don't like the look of this, Fred.
He's brilliant in it. George C. Scott is also the perfect casting for, what they probably took as Curtis LeMay. He had that folder, the World Targets and Megadeaths. That war room is such a remarkable piece of set design that almost every other movie that has a war room in it has copied this war room.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Apparently, Ronald Reagan thought it was real. What's hilarious to me is FIFA, the governing board for international soccer, designed their own boardroom after. Other than instead of an oval table, it's a rectangle. It's exactly like. I love when he makes his entrance into the war room. And the first thing that the Russian gentleman says,
"Your eggs in there fresh?"
Oh, yes, sir.
And it reminded me of a Spalding Gray film. He did a film called Swimming to Cambodia because he was in the killing fields. And he says when he was in the Soviet Union, all the food was old. And it made me think of that may have been what it was like. Getting fresh food was a treat.
No ukuleles in this, but Willie Nelson just released a cover of I'll Be Seeing You on ukulele, where it's just Willie Nelson and a ukulele. Which is not the same song as We'll Meet Again, which I was sure that it was. How's that for coming around?
6 degrees of separation.
Look, Colonel Bat Guano, if that's your real name. I thought this was a wonderful movie. Peter Sellers, I've loved him since all the Pink Panther movies, and he is just was a genius for sure. I'm going to give this 3.5 ukuleles.
I'm going to go 3.5 ukuleles as well. I thought the commentary was so biting yet funny and accessible. This rolling down the hill of ridiculousness, I loved it.
I'm going to go with 4 ukuleles just because of the brilliance of it. Probably because it's definitely the first Stanley Kubrick movie I ever saw. And we can all pretty much agree that Kubrick was pretty okay filmmaker. But this one is so different from his other movies too. So I don't think he did any other comedies or satires.
I'm going to give you your money, but you're going to have to answer to the Coca-Cola company. I would give it 3.5. I saw it a long time ago, but I still think it's a really funny movie. So 3.5.
It's over.